I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 11th, 2014. Funerals were held today for the victims of two separate terror attacks that took place yesterday in Israel. 20-year-old IDF Sergeant Almog Shiloni from Modi'in was laid to rest on Mount Herzl in Jerusalem this morning after he died last night of critical injuries he sustained during a stabbing attack by a Palestinian terrorist at the Tel Aviv train station yesterday. 26-year-old Dalia Lamkus was laid to rest in the Jewish settlement of Tekoa, where she lived. Lamkus was one of three people stabbed at the Alon Shvut junction in the West Bank yesterday by a Palestinian terrorist. The two others sustained light to moderate injuries. Lamkus died at the scene. A total of 6 Israelis, including Lamkus and Shiloni, have been murdered by terrorists from the West Bank and East Jerusalem in the past month, compared to a total of 5 in the past 2 years. In the wake of yesterday's attacks, Israeli security forces beefed up their presence in major cities across the country, as well as in the West Bank, and Israel's Security Cabinet met this afternoon on the recent wave of violence. The U.S. State Department condemned the terror attacks yesterday. Spokeswoman Jen Psaki said, "We strongly condemn the stabbings today. We deeply regret the loss of life. Our condolences go out to the families." Psaki also urged restraint from the Palestinians and Israelis. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Ron Prosor, strongly criticized the body's Security Council for ignoring the recent terror attacks. Prosor said, "Every day Israelis are coming under attack. Every day the crowds of violent Palestinian rioters grow larger, and yet this institution has not uttered a word to denounce attacks against Israelis. Ignoring incitement and terrorism," he said, "is similar to supporting terrorism." And the Anti-Defamation League expressed its concern not only over the recent wave of terror attacks, but over a large number of Facebook pages glorifying a certain type of terror attack, namely the runover attack, several of which have occurred in the last few weeks, when terrorists used their vehicles as a weapon, running over and killing or injuring pedestrians in what is being termed car intifada. ADL National Director Abe Foxman said social media like Facebook and also Twitter is being used to promote and glorify terrorism and anti-Semitism, and that is not what these media platforms were created to do. He said the ADL was in the process of notifying these media companies about the issue. Meanwhile, 48-year-old Temple Mount activist Rabbi Yehuda Glick, who was shot in an attempted assassination 2 weeks ago, is said to be improving. The Times of Israel reports that Glick's father said he was awake and communicating with people around him in writing. Glick's father said his son's doctors at Shaarei Tzedek Medical Center in Jerusalem were optimistic about his recovery. Riots erupted near the Hebron area today. Hundreds of Palestinian protesters clashed with Israeli security forces. The rioters threw stones and Molotov cocktails at the soldiers and their vehicles. And when riot control measures, including tear gas and rubber bullets, failed, the IDF opened fire. One Palestinian was shot and killed. He has been identified as 22-year-old Imad Jawabre. The IDF said they shot at Jawabre when he aimed at them with an improvised weapon. Another rioter was seriously injured. In separate clashes, 50 Palestinians threw stones at IDF soldiers north of Jerusalem near Ramallah. The IDF soldiers responded with riot control measures. One soldier sustained light injuries and was taken for treatment. Israel's Knesset will honor the Canadian Parliament's Sergeant-at-Arms who stopped a gunman outside the Parliament building in Ottawa last month. 58-year-old former Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer Kevin Vickers shot and killed Michael Zehaf Bebo, who had begun shooting inside the Parliament on October the 22nd after shooting and killing a soldier guarding the National War Memorial there. Vickers is in Israel along with other Canadian officials for the 3rd International Homeland Security Conference. He will be recognized by the Speaker of the Knesset, Yuli Edelstein, tomorrow. El Al Israel Airlines announced yesterday that they will begin direct flights between Boston's Logan Airport and Israel's Ben Gurion next year. Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, who helped push the new direct service, held a trade mission to Israel earlier this year and said yesterday that there are currently 7,000 people working in Massachusetts for Israeli-founded companies, and that the new Logan Ben Gurion flights would add even more jobs. The direct service is set to begin at the end of June of 2015. And as we honor the brave men and women who have served in our armed forces on this Veterans Day, Tuesday, November the 11th, JBS has special programming coming up tonight, including at 7 o'clock, meet Jewish veterans from the Philadelphia area who fought in World War II. Then at 8 o'clock, a service honoring American soldiers and the contribution of Jews in the armed forces, commemorated by the Council of Young Jewish Presidents in a moving service held in New York City's Park Avenue Synagogue. And then at 9 tonight on L'Chaim, Mark Golub sits down with decorated Jewish Marine Zach Iskal, who served 2 terms in Iraq. That's tonight on JBS and jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 11th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.